everyone, in today's video I'm going to take you on a tour of my art studio, and I'm going to show you how I store my art supplies and how I work in my art space or my workspace, and basically just show you how my art studio looks. So let's go into the art studio. So going in, the studio is at a lower level to the house. Just an overview, you can see that's my work area where I do my art and create my art. I do have a chandelier in the center of my room, which I'm very happy with, and because I really like chandeliers. And then this is my entertainment area where I just relax or brainstorm ideas or just basically take my time to rest when I'm done with artwork or when I'm not working. So I moved into the studio in October 2019. So now I'm going to show you in detail everything. Let's go down the stairs. Now I know the curtains, the curtains are single curtains. There are going to be more curtains on this windows. The second ones are going to come in, and the one on the stairs, but that's because my mom is working on those curtains for me. So yeah, those will be coming in the future, but for now I just put them single just so that I can close up the windows at night when I'm working at night. So or if I don't want the light to come in. So I'm going to start off by showing you the workspace for my art area. It looks a bit cluttered at the moment if you look at it this way, but I will go and show you everything, and then I will show you these cupboards, what I have stored in here, and my art supplies and things like that I have stored. And then I will move over to the entertainment area and just show you my storage. This is my storage unit that my dad and sister helped me create for my canvases. So this is for my canvases and my finished paintings. So we'll go to that last, but for now, okay, so let's go into my workspace. So I've got two chairs in this workspace. I know it looks a bit cramped up, but it's not actually, and it's very convenient for me to work and grab art supplies because everything is within reach of whatever I need. So you can see I've got two chairs. This one is a bit torn up, but this one's I've got it since 2012, so I've used it a lot, but I still use it when I'm doing my editing. And then I do have another chair over here which I use when I'm doing my paintings or drawings at these two tables. So now starting off here, let me just shift my tripod away. Okay, so starting off, I've got this glass table, and now this glass top table can be lifted up. It can be raised higher if you want it to be at a higher incline, and I use this mainly for my color pencil work. And you can see it's got a place on the side for you to, on the right hand side, for you to put all your pencils as you're working. So I really like that about it. It makes it convenient for me when I'm doing my color pencil pieces. And then it does have two drawers at the bottom that you can just pull out like that. Okay, but that one just has my planner and a little container for my sharpenings and some packaging for my paints. And then this has got some random things and some backings of my art papers and art pads. I keep them so that I can use them to create my sketchbooks or to create art journals if I need to, because I have started art journaling this year as well. Okay, and then let's move my tripod again. Okay, so let's go to this table here. Now this little table here only has, okay, there's my dustbin and my polish for my furniture. But okay, this little table has a little container on top. Now this container only has got all my label for my printer, labeling to print out labels, and it's got my paper for printing out labels. It's got my paper for my prints, and it's got my paper for my stickers that I have available. So those, I use that to do my printing for my stickers and prints and labels. So that just has that paper stored there. And if you go down, you'll see there's a box for some paper just to make some notes if I need extra paper. I've got my turntable. That's a little wooden turntable that I use for my clay when I'm doing my sculpting. And then at the bottom you'll just see there's my oil painting brushes, and the box at the back has got some oil painting little containers that I use for turpentine and things like that. And there's a little lotion there, or bottle lotion there. And then I just have my punch and my paper punch and my stapler, and then just some scrap paper in case I need to make some scribbly notes somewhere. Then I got this paper that I keep my scrap paper just so that I can use that in case I need it to make some rough notes. Okay, so you can see I've got two lamps. This one over here. So this is, both of them are identical. That one I don't really use that much. This one I do use when I'm working on this area. Sometimes I need both of them. It depends on the lighting. But yeah, I try to use natural light, but you know, natural light does change all the time. But yeah, that is the lamps that I've got. And then I've got this little, or not little, this is my big easel, and I use this for my big paintings. The largest painting I've done is a 30 by 40 inch. So that was my largest painting that I've done. So that's the easel that I use for that. I do have a canvas on there in case I need to do any or plan my painting. I do have a painting that I'm planning, so I've got the easel there. And then moving this side, I've got my airbrush at the bottom, and behind it you'll see there's a bottle. I use that bottle. It's actually a Coke bottle that was cut up, or a Fanta bottle that was cut up and washed out, and I just use it to clean my airbrush. So when I spray out all the water, it goes into that and it won't get all over the place. When I try to spray out all the excess color out from my paint, or from my paint from my airbrush, it doesn't get all over the place. So I can just clean out the brush and clean out the airbrush and spray it into that bottle instead of it getting all over the place. And then just to show you where the airbrush is there's a little clamp put on the side. Sorry, I'm at a very bad angle, but that is a clamp, and then it just hooks on into its slot on the side. Okay, so that's my airbrush. Sorry. Okay, and then on this, okay, and then just underneath there, nothing really exciting. There's just a box with all documents and stuff that have extra stuff, and then I just got my paper for my printer, and then I've got my 2 containers there, which is my sewing, the cottons and my sewing supplies and stuff like that, my paper towel and roll of paper towel and paper towels, sorry. And then that over there is my, okay, this is my foiling tool. So I've got my hot foiling tool in there, and I got my foil for my hot foil. There's my power bank to power it up with, and basically that's what's in that container. And I can just show you what's here. You can see that's just my sewing kit, and then there's just different color cottons. So that's all that I've got underneath there. Now let's go to my main area of working and my main supplies. So these here are my paints that I use for my acrylic paintings. These are my Montmartre satin acrylic paints, and I just cut up one of the old fan boxes that I had, and I stuck it together, and I created this tray to lay out all my paints. That way, if I need a particular color, I can just reach for the color, use it, and put it back, and I don't have to have a jumble of colors and looking for colors. I won't have to dig around looking for colors. Everything is laid out where I can see, and I can exactly know what color I need and just grab that color and use it. So that's basically my acrylic paintings, or my acrylic paints that I use. And then there is my smaller easel. This one I use for smaller paintings. There's my painting that I did. I just got it displayed on there. But that is my easel that I use for smaller paintings. Let's just put this down. Okay, so on my desk you'll see there's my little gray container. This is actually for you to use for your drying of your kitchen spoons and forks and things. But I use it for my paint brushes. These are my acrylic paint brushes. You can see I got some mop brushes, some full butts, which I love this one over here, and I got a lot of rounds and fine line of, sorry, not fine lines, but liner brushes. I also got some foam brushes in here, and there's a palette knife which I use to clean my palette with, and also sometimes mix paint. But those are basically my brushes that I use for my acrylic painting. I just got an old cloth there just to use to wipe up paint if I have any messes or anything like that. Then there's some 3 bottles of water in case I need for painting, that I don't have to keep running up to go and get water. I've got my water on hand. There's 2 jars that I've used for my water for inks, or for my Mod Podge, or anything like that. If I need water which is messy, or some medium that's messy, I use these little glass jars. And then these are my little cups, plastic cups, that I use to fill water for my acrylic painting. You can see it's really used a lot. And then these 2 are actually spray bottles for hair products that I've got, which is a they're very nice for getting a mist of spray without really wetting anything. So I use these a lot for my art journaling, especially when I'm using watercolors or inks. I use those a lot. Watery, what is it? The Inktense. When I'm using my Inktense, I use these a lot, as well as when I'm trying to just get some splashes of color. But these are really nice spray bottles. They work very well if you need a spray bottle. I do have the spray bottle which I used to use before, but this one puts out a lot of water onto the paper. This one sort of gives, these 2 give it like mist of water. This one gives it a lot of water. So I think those are better options to use than this one. Mine is not there. They do sell some, I've seen other creators use them, which have mist sprayers, but I cannot find those kind of ones here where I am, or maybe I'm not going to the correct stores, I'm not sure, but I'm not able to find those here. So I just use these ones, they work fine for me. And then that is a spray bottle I do use when I'm using for my acrylic paints, where I need a lot of water to be sprayed onto the canvas. So yeah, that is that. And these are my acrylic as I said, these are my acrylic cups I use for my acrylic paints, and then these are my glass bottles I use for rinsing my brushes out. Then you'll see there is my palettes. This is my latest painting with my palette with my acrylic paints. I haven't cleaned it out yet, but that's my palette. And then I've got palettes for my gouache, my watercolors, and my inks as well. So I've got different palettes for different things. This is my ink pen set I use this one for. And then I've got my hair dryer. And then over here you can see I've got all my mediums for my art journaling. So you'll see I've got my Mod Podge, and I've got my, this is my Serviette Podge, and then I've got, this is Arctic Snow. It's also sort of like a texture paste. What else I got in here? Then I've got, sorry, let's pick this up. This is my modeling paste. That's just a piece of sandpaper that's there. There's some gel medium. There's some glitter glue. I've got my gel medium. I've got a little tub of it as well. And then here I've got my gesso, which I also use sometimes if I want to smooth out a canvas that's a bit too rough textured. And then here I've got my acrylic gel medium, which I use a lot for sticking down my different elements for my art journaling. And then I've got my clear gesso as well, and then a normal little Pritt stick. So that's my little basket for my art journaling, mainly when I use it, because I use gesso as well a lot in my art journaling. So that's where all those supplies are. Then over here we come, now this area is my art journaling supplies. I've got all my art supplies on this side, in this little cupboards this side. But for now, let me go through this. This is just some paper that I got, a roll of paper that I use for the inside cover of my books that I create myself, or I make myself, my journal books or my sketchbooks, just to make the inside cover look fancy, as well as for my art journaling as well. Then over here I've got all my stencils. So these are all my art journaling stencils that I have. I'm not going to go through all of them now to show you, but these are all my art stencils that I have for my art journaling. I got a variety of different stencils. Okay, and then I do have, these are just printouts from my printer that I print for my art journaling. And then over here I've got all my these are my 12 by 12 papers. You can see these are all my papers that I do have. I got different papers. It goes really to a variety of different kinds. But yeah, that's how I store my papers. And then I'm just going to quickly, I'm not going to go into the whole container and show you, but I just want to give you an idea. Okay, this just has all my extras for my art journaling, some cloth. There's a lot of, underneath here, there is a lot of, you can see there's a lot of my serviettes or napkins, whichever one you may know it as. I got some old books over here. There's some quilling tools there, or some quilling, this is the part of the quilling tool for you to do quilling on. And then I've got some stickers and some additional stickers to add for my art journaling in there. And then that's just some art paper books that I've got, a variety of them. So yeah, I'm not going to go into too much with that, but that's my art journaling stuff that I have. Okay, now the next thing that I've got here is this little 3-drawer or plastic drawer sort of a drawer set. And in this drawer set, basically I only have paper in it. I haven't really sorted it out really. You can see I've got my these are my transfer papers, graphite and white transfer paper. This is my tracing paper that I use under my hand when I'm drawing, so it doesn't mess up the paper, especially when I'm working with messy mediums, or even pencil as well, so I don't smudge my artwork as well. Then I've got my tracing paper, and then I've got a variety of different basically all the different papers that I have for my color pencil or pencil work that I use, or ink. So you got my watercolor paper, there's some sketchbooks, there's my marker paper. So basically this just has, I'm not going to go through all of them like that, but these are just basically all my papers for my pencil, ink, charcoal, or graphite or color pencil. So that's basically that, and my marker paper is in there as well. And then over here I've got all my watercolor papers. So these are all the different watercolor papers that I have, that I use. So I've got all of that put into this drawer, and then I've got all my mixed media paper in this drawer. So these are my papers that I use for my acrylic paintings, papers I use for my journaling or to create my art journals. So yeah, these are my mixed media papers. So basically this is just a drawer with all my art papers that I use for my painting or my drawing, depending what I'm using. So I use some of that watercolor paper. I also use for gouache paintings as well, and watercolors and inks as well, Inktense as well. So yeah, that's what all of that is. Then if you come over here, you'll see there's this little drawer here. Now this little drawer, that I've got it for many years. I just had some clutch pencils in there, or mechanical pencils. It's got some staple removers, some lids for my pencils, some Tipex for correction fluid. You can see there's some pens in there. There's extra blending stamps in there, some sandpaper as well in there. And at the bottom just got some sellotape, a little cutting tool, some clamps and stuff like that. Nothing really too much in there. There's just some bits and bobs in there. And then this was an art journal that I created, but I never started working in it yet. It's my second one that I made, but I haven't worked in it yet. I'm still deciding how to decorate the cover, but that was that. And then this is just a extra canvas I was gonna use for a project for my art, to create an artwork on that. But yeah, that's for another video. But then okay, this is just got you can see I've got my art journaling inks in here. So you know, art journaling inks, but I use it for art journaling. These are all my artistry inks. These are my distress inks, and I've got my dabbers. I've got my ink pads. You can see I use these a lot as well. So that's basically what's in this. There's some extra glue in there as well, and then some extra inks there for my ink pads. I do have a new ink pad at the bottom as well, which I haven't used yet. And then in this one also is a art journaling basically container, but these I've got just some extra things in it. I've got these silicone brushes. Silicone brushes. They like brushes, but they made with the silicone to smear the paints with. I've got extra glitter glue. I've got this roller in case I need to roll some paint on. I've got some stencil brushes in here. I've got extra of these little dabbers for the ink, to apply the ink to. I've got a little bit extra of those. And then I've got this, basically got just those extras of those dabbers and sponges for me to apply the inks. And then I got these little stickers, or basically foam stickers, to use for my sticking of any of my art journaling pages, or if I want to make any cards or anything like that. I've got the stickers for that. So yeah, that is what's in this container. So that's basically this side is my art journaling section. This side got mostly my art journaling stuff and some stationery. So now we're coming to my main area where I do my drawings or paintings, even with watercolors, gouache. And this is what the desk looks like. And you can see it's got a cupboard on one side, and then it's got drawers on the other side. Now I do have my mat, my cutting mat here. I do place this on the table when I'm working, so I don't mess it too much. I did mess it up with some ink or paints now and again, but I try to not mess it up too much. If you move my drawing table away, you can see, or my drawing board away, you can see it's quite clean, the table. But I try to not mess it, because it is raw wood and I don't want it to get too stained. This as well is my drawing board. I use this a lot. This is for me, I can just place my sketchbook on it, and then I can do a painting and work on the painting. So this is what I really enjoy about having this drawing board here. It's really handy to paint or draw with, because it doesn't keep everything flat. It lifts it up a bit if I want to not work flat, and I prefer not working flat and working on a inclined surface. So okay, so going to my sketchbook on this side, this is just my regular sketchbook. There's nothing really fancy in there. This is my planning sketchbook. I just do something, my plan and rough sketches and all in this sketchbook. And then I've got my swatches of all my pencils and my paints and watercolors and gouache and all of that, all the swatches are in this little file. Then on this side you can see I've got a little container there with some white plastic palette knives. I've got some bigger brushes, flat brushes. These are for my art journaling. I use these, all my art journaling supplies for paint brushes that I use. Then I've got this one over here. Now this one is actually my ink tints. These round ones are for my ink tints. And then these filbert brushes, I use these two that I've got there, are for my color pencil. When I'm applying the odorless mineral spirits, I use these for that. So then I've got also this little container with all these little clamps, different sizes, different types. This is basically for me to clip on my sketchbook when I have it open, to hold the pages down so that it doesn't stick out when I'm working. I've got different sizes, and I got this large one as well. These are two containers that I actually want to use for storing my brushes or paints, but I'm thinking of painting them before I start using them. They just have these little I'm supposed to actually throw these away. These are from one of my sets of watercolors that I open up. These are the little papers that are wrapped around the watercolors. I don't know why I actually kept them in here, but anyway, I've got them in here. But these are going to be painted, and I'm going to use them for keeping my brushes on my desk. And then we move over to this side, and you can see I've got my two collapsible water cups for my watercolors. I mainly use the red one because you can see it gets quite messy inside, and this one I'm just keeping for look because it looks nice, and it's blue, my favorite color. So yeah. And then I've got this little glass over here, which I use to store my watercolor brushes and gouache brushes, because these are used for watercolor and gouache. I don't have separate brushes for the two of them. There's some flats, rounds, a lot of rounds, and a lot of there's a few flats as well. So I use these for my watercolors and my gouache. Then on this little one over here, it's got my eraser that I use. It's got my sharpeners. This is my Derwent sharpener. Let me just take it to show you. It's my Derwent sharpener, and then this is my Faber-Castell sharpener, and then I've got the regular sharpener that I use. This is an Adele sharpener. I use this for my pencils, regular pencils, and then I've got my, what is this? This is my kneaded eraser, and I've got a regular sharpener as well at the bottom. So if we look there, sorry, let me go in there. I've got my regular sharpener that I use often. This one I use if I want to see how I'm sharpening the tip of my pencil, then I use that. And then I've got a regular eraser there as well. So basically those are just my sharpeners and erasers. In this one here, I have my sharpeners and razors, and then in this one I've just got my scissors, some a large one, smaller one, and I've got all my extra pencils that I use, like my pastel pencil or my Derwent Drawing Chinese white. Sorry, I've got my this is my erasing pencil. I've got also a black charcoal pencil over there. There's also my blending pencil at the back. And basically that's what I use this for. And there's also some a chalk pencil for I use that for my outlining when I want to outline drawings on a painted background. And then I got some blending stump here, and then my regular pencils are here as well. And then I've got this little mop brush which I used to use it for oil painting, but now I just use it it's washed and cleaned. And I've been using it now for my drawings, just to dust off any erasings when I erase something. So yeah, and then just before I go to the drawers, I just want to show you this little table that's here is a very old table, and I just have all my stencils in there. So these are quite large stencils. The ones I previously showed you are quite small. I just got them in there. So if anyone has any tips for how I can store these, please let me know in the comments below, because I've been struggling to find a way to store these. So I just leave them covered with this felt and left on my little table next door to me. So okay, that's that. And then over here I've got my sketchbook that I'm working on. This is the larger one that I'm working on. It's the one I did my animal habitat art series in, and yeah, this is my sketchbook that I'm working on, one of them, and then this is the little one that I'm working on as well. Now let's go to the drawers. So the first drawer, you can see I've got all my watercolor supplies. So you'll see there's a white gouache here as well, which I use a lot with my watercolors. They are my Taylor Rowney Aquafine watercolors, which I like using. My Faber-Castell watercolors, which I love. They're very, very, very nice. And then I've also got underneath I've got, what else? I've got my gouache paints and watercolor tubes underneath here for my Montmartre. Then I've got palette for the Faber-Castell. I've got my Montmartre paint palette set for watercolors. I've got this is my Mumio watercolor set, and then I've got my Koi watercolor set underneath. Okay, that's what I got in this drawer. And then I just have some washi tape that I use for my currently I'm using for my sketchbook when I'm outlining my page or my painting, that I got that there. And then I've got my masking tape, and then I got another plastic sort of a tape that I use to cover my or stick my color pencil drawings onto the glass table I showed you earlier. And that's just so that it doesn't really, this tape doesn't stick on the paper much, so not much, it doesn't stick on the paper, so I can peel it off even after 2-3 days and I don't have a problem removing it from the paper. So that's the first drawer. Second drawer has got my bigger set of my Koi watercolors, and it's got all my graphites and charcoal supplies. So these are all my charcoal supplies, the brushes, some blending stumps, white charcoal, and my charcoal Derwent set, as well as my Lumograph graphite pencils. Then I've got my graphic pencils over here, my graphic pencils, tinted charcoal over there, metallic pencils as well, which I don't really use, but I've got that there. Then I've got my metallic paint pen set. I've got my tinted charcoal set over here, and then I've got my graphitant paint pen set. Those are what are in the second drawer. And if we move to the third drawer, you can see I've got all my Inktense and watercolor sets here. So you'll see my Inktense blocks are here. I've got my Inktense pencils, and then I've got my watercolor pencils. Those are my Derwent watercolor pencils and my Inktense pencils. So those are all the water soluble or water based supplies. And then I've got some extra paintbrushes. There's a variety of different paintbrushes here. And then I've got my Inktense paint pen set. You can see I've got the studio set over here, and then I've got this one is the paint pen set, the smaller set, and then this is the pastel colors. I don't think I can get that out there. These are the pastel shades of the paint pen set. So these are what I got in this drawer. And then in the fourth drawer, I've got my Chromaflow pencils. I've got my Artist White Mineral Spirits, which I use for blending my color pencil. I got my Zest It, which I'm still yet to try. It's for blending pencil, but I'm still yet to try it out. And then I've got my drawing pencils by Derwent, and then I've got my Pro Colors. And so underneath that, I got my Faber Castell Polychromos, my Derwent Light Fast, and yeah, those are the only two that I have underneath there. So those are my pencils that I have there. So these are my color pencils underneath here. Okay, now I went to the drawers, but I didn't show you my cupboard. Okay, that was just my heater that I do use during the winter when I'm working. Yeah, but usually that's packed away in summer. It's not in the way as it's standing there now. Okay, so here I've got my cameras. This is my cameras are stored here. I've got all my ink. These are all my ink pens. So you'll find all my fine liners, my Sharpies, pepper pens, my brush pens, my Derwent line makers. Those are all here. Basically, any fine liner you're looking for, you'll find in this little tray. And then I also have my set of Winsor & Newton Pro Brush markers. These stay in this cupboard as well. So those are my markers that I use. And then my camera bags are there. And then in the bottom here, there's just my cabling for the cables for my cameras, my chargers. There's just a little toolbox. This as well has got my glue gun and my screwdriver and things like that. There's just some tools in there, my toolbox. And then this is just a little binoculars that I do have kept here, and some extra board there. So that's basically what's in that cupboard. And then we move over here. As I said, this is my you can see my tissue here. I've got water, my Vaseline for my lips. Got some extra paper for my printer. My printer is over there. And then here you can see in the drawers of this little drawers, chest of drawers, you can see I've got all my stamps here. These are all my wooden stamps. I've got different stamps. I've got them all placed into here so that I can just choose whichever one I want. These are my stamps. These I use for my art journaling. Then I've also got my alphabets that I use for my art journaling as well. The lowercase and uppercase. At the back I've got, there are my washi tapes. I've got a variety of different washi tapes. You can see I've got a lot of different designs, colors, types of washi tapes. These I use, as I said, just for outlining my paintings in my watercolors as I'm working, as well as maybe using it for my art journaling. So I've got those, and then over here, this is just some more stamps that I've got. Just these I had since I was very young, so I've got these still. And then I've got in here all my chipboards. So here's all different types of chipboards and different all different kinds. There's frames, there's flowers, there's gears, there's different things. There's animals, there's horse and carts as well. So these are just my chipboards that I have for my art journaling or for decorating my canvases or decorating cards as well. Then these are just also some chipboards that I've got. These are some wreaths, and then these are some windows. So I just got 2 packs of the windows because you don't easily find the windows chipboards. So I just found those 2 and then I picked them. So those are all that I have in this drawer. Close that one. In the second drawer, I've got all my punches. So you can see I don't have many punches, but I got my punches all over there. My corner punch there. I've got my circle punch. I've got 2 different size snowflakes. I've got another snowflake over here, and then I've got my butterfly one, and then here is just a border punch, and then this is my trimmer. So this is just for me to use to trim my paper or my prints or anything like that, and then that's just an extra ruler that I have on the side. And in my third drawer, you can see I've got just some random stuff. This is all different glitters that I've got. There's a variety of different colors. Those are just little glitters I got many years ago. Those are some sets that I bought also about, I don't know how many years ago, maybe over 10 years ago. These little sets that came with little bottles and these little chipboards, and then you could decorate them with the glitter. So those were those I had. And then this is just some water soluble oil pastels that I was trying lately. These are some more glitter packs that I've got. And then in here I've got some paints. These are different those are the Reeves acrylic paints, and then I got my satin acrylic paints underneath that, and then I've got these paints which are watercolor paints, which are more student grade paints, I guess. And then I've got all my metallic paints in here. So these are all my metallic paints, and then also have my neon paints. So these are my neon acrylic paints and my neon metallic paints. And then there's just my hard drive. This is just my phone charger that's kept there. Then I've got, yeah, so those are all of the stuff in my bed drawers. Then we come to my desk. Now this is my work area where I do my editing and everything. So you can see here I've got a little pastel drawer sets, or 2 drawer sets. I've got my glasses, my headphones, my cables for connecting my phone to the computer, my phone. There's my laptop, mouse, my sticky notes. There's some pens in that little organizer, and then there's a little plant there, calculator, and just some books and papers that I use to make my notes on. So coming to here, there's some plants, there's a chest. There's actually nothing in here, but yeah, that's my little chest hidden there. And then I've got nothing in the first drawer because I don't use these for my pencils, but I do use it for other stuff. So I've got my logo stickers, I've got my leopard stickers there, and then here I've just got random stuff like my color wheel, my bone folder, quilling tools, this little pokey tool that I use to make holes for my, I literally use it like an owl, but it's not actually an owl, but yeah, that's what I use. My silicone brushes, some blending stamps, some of these little embossing tools or dotting tools. So yeah, that's basically what I got in this drawer. And then in the next one, I've just got some blending pencils, regular pencils, and color pencils, and some pastel pencils. Then this one, I've got blending stamps, my little knife. I've got some mono erasers and some tweezers. So that's basically what I have in that drawer. And in this drawer, I've got some old memory sticks. I've got some, these are refills for my mono erasers. I've got my electric or my battery operated eraser. a little scissor and another blade for my trimmer. And then here I've just got this is actually for my board, my drawing board, and then this is for my, or this is the ruler at the bottom. So yeah, that's basically what I have in there. Nothing special or nothing fancy in there. And then my headphones and my cables and everything, as I said. So that is my area. So basically that is my working area and where I do all my art and I do all my creating of my paintings and drawings and things like that. So whenever you see me painting or drawing, it's going to be in this area. This area may change as I work in it more and things change or anything changes and I may have to add. But basically that is my workspace and that's what I have in that area. So now coming to, okay, let's first go to my bookcase. So let's go around the table. So that's my working area. It looks a bit better from this side. So that's my working space, my office, my drawing space, and my painting area over there. So looking over here, I've just got this, you can see my walls. I have got these cornices and the walls have got these curves in certain parts of the wall. So it's quite a fancy look to the walls. But now if you look at over here, this is my bookcase that I've got. Now the bookcase just has got on top here, I've just got some regular books. I've got a few decorative items on there. These are all my novels that I've got. And then over here I've got also some more novels. These are some wooden books that I want to work on. This is actually my sketchbook that I created myself. This is a little box that I decorated. It's a wooden box that I decorated actually myself. And then there's just one Christmas globe. I like snow globes, so I just leave it there on the side. And then I've just got some of my files with some references I think it has in it. And then over there there's just some encyclopedias. There's some art books at the bottom as well. There's some more sticky notes, and then that little box at the bottom has got some really old books in it. And yeah, basically that. This is just some plastic storage containers in there, and then there's some glass ones in there. So nothing really special. But here, over here are all my little folders with all my drawings and illustrations that I've done. Those all go into these little portfolios or these little files to protect them. And then over there is my art journal and all my sketchbooks. So as I work on my sketchbooks or my artwork, they go into these files. If it's a sketchbook, then I'll just keep putting them over there. So those are my 3 sketchbooks and my art journal over there. So basically that's my bookshelf. Also on my bookshelf, this was, okay, first let me show you this. This was actually an elephant that I sculpted myself with clay, with air drying clay. And this was with the leftover clay, I just sculpted this little skull. So yeah, that was made by me. So okay, then in this corner I've just got my old laptop, some additional easels, small easels or display easels, and then there's just the box for my drawing table. There's some paper towels in there, and then that's just some of the equipment that came with my router and stuff that's there. So okay, so that is that area over there. Now we're going to go to the cupboards. Now we're going to look at the 3 cupboards I showed you earlier. Now this is basically my storage area for all my art supplies and things. So we will be looking at each one inside and showing you, I will show you everything that's inside. But just wanted a little bit to tell you about them. Even though they all are different, doesn't really bother me. My main thing is that the storage must be there. I must be able to store my things in a organized way and be able to find my things, and this works perfect, these 3. That one over there was a raw wood like the one beside it, but a couple of years ago I decided to make it darker, and then I stained it with wood stain, made it darker, and then varnished it. The varnish wasn't perfect. You can see there's some glaring over there, but for me it works and I'm happy with it. So yeah, doesn't really worry me that they're all different as long as the storage is there. That one I left it in its raw wood look because I liked how it looks. So that one I left it that way. So now just looking on the top quickly. On the top I've just got my printer box, and there's my puzzle mat. There's a little feather duster, and there on top there's my dad's guitar, which is in a plastic so it doesn't get dusty. And then there is some more feather dusters, and all my canvas panels are there. So that I've got them kept on the top of that cupboard so that they're flat and they can't get warped or damaged. So that's where they are, and they are covered in plastic so that they don't get dusty. So yeah, that is that area on top. It's not really exciting, but that is, it doesn't really look very nice either. I must find a better solution for that, but for now it works. So into this cupboard, the first cupboard, when you open it, you'll see that there is all my paper pads on top. You can see there's some watercolor paper pads, all the extra. These are just extras I keep so that if I run out, I don't have to go and buy it. I just can come to my cupboard and take one out. There's my these are my graphite transfer papers, white and gray. And then these are all mixed media pads. And then these are my marker pads on top. And then I have regular sketch paper or sketch pads at the bottom. Those are some puzzles from my family. Those are some really old puzzles. So I just got them kept there for keeping them safe. And then in the second shelf, there's all my sketchbooks. Now, these are all new sketchbooks. I just keep them so that when I need a new sketchbook, I can just come in here and take them. There are different types. Some of them I really like, then I just buy a few of them and I keep that. There's some more mixed media paper in a smaller size. Over here, I've just got some folders that I use to put all my, or display folders to put all my artwork in. And then over here is all my tone paper. And also there's some charcoal paper and mixed media paper as well. So that's what's there. Here there is just my spiral bound sketchbooks. All of these are spiral bound sketchbooks. And those are just some notebooks on the side there. Now the other shelves are not really that exciting, except this I just got my A3 sketch pads or pads of paper, as well as my spiral bound larger sketchbooks. These are all new stuff, just my extra in case I need to use it. I haven't actually used any of these much really, but yeah, those are there. There's just some stationery like dividers and folder dividers, and then there's some plastic wrap over there. There's some plastic pockets. Over there you can see there's some envelopes, and over there is all my just some admin stuff. Even with the shelf below, it's some admin stuff as well as my college stuff when I was studying for my BCom accounting degree. So all my stuff is over there. And then right at the bottom are all my textbooks. So we can go and just see. I've got a lot of textbooks. I never got rid of my textbooks. I always wanted to keep them. But yeah, those are all my textbooks, admin stuff. So those two shelves are not exciting. Nothing interesting there. Only admin stuff. And then this half as well, admin things and some paperwork and stuff. These are not the most exciting shelves to look at, but yeah, these are basically my little stash of extra paper, because I don't like to run out of any paper, so I want to have everything on hand if I need it. So that's that cupboard. Now we're going over to the next cupboard. Now this one, if you look at this one, the top shelf has got just some random stuff and some electronic stuff. Let me just show you one thing that I'm really happy about. This was my Damelin, that's where I studied my BCom accounting degree at the degree campus, and this was an honors award that I got. It says highest achiever for degrees, Yakshmi Priya Sergio. This was for my BCom accounting degree, and I received this honors award because I got 28 out of 28 distinctions for all my subjects that I studied for my BCom accounting degree. So I'm very proud of this. It was a lot of work, 4 years of a lot of hard work. I just got this kept. I would like to display it somewhere, but I'm too scared for it to break, so I just keep it in the cupboard to protect it so it doesn't fall or get damaged anywhere. So I'm happy with it there, so it's safe there. But I just want to show you that's my honors award, and I'm really, really proud of that. And then over here I've got just my photographs from my graduation. This was a little trophy that I got in when I finished primary school. In my finals farewell, we got the awards. I got this award over here. Is there anything written on it? No, but that was my award that I got. It's just a little tin my mom bought for me. I haven't found a use for it, but it just looks pretty, so I keep it there. I'm also scared to damage it on anything, because if I just keep it anyway, it may fall. But one day I may display this somewhere. At the back, there's just some random electronic stuff. My camera packaging, or my camera boxes. There's some cable boxes. There's my headphones over here, extra headphones. These are just my an extra mouse and my memory cards and things. At the back there's some globes for my lamps. Then those are just some random packaging as boxes that I kept for my headphones. It's the box for the headphones. And then these are just my hard drives. And then I've got underneath it, there's just some, I think, photo albums. That's all that's there. And then this is just some extra packaging. So yeah, so those are all the stuff on the top shelf. Moving to the next shelf. Now this shelf has got my pencils on it, or extra sets of pencils. These are my Dash Luminous pencils. Now these are the only set I own of these, but because they are in the original box and I want to keep the packaging, they can't fit in the drawers that I've got for my other pencils where I work every day with. So I just got them kept in here, underneath or in this cupboard. And then underneath I've got my Faber-Castell Polychromos, an additional set of those pencils. Then over here I've got my Derwent Lightfast, an additional set of the 72 set. And then I've got my Derwent Inktense, another set of that. And then this was the Derwent Artist pencils, and these are the pencils I used to use before I bought all these, the Polychromos and the Caran d'Ache, and I used to use these a lot. These were the initial pencils that I started with, so I got a set of that. And then I've got my Coloursoft. I do have a bigger set of the Coloursoft over here. And then I've got, underneath the Coloursoft, I've got my Derwent Studio set, which are basically a finer version or a more harder pencil than the Artist, but the colors are identical. And then underneath here I've got my Artist, another set. At that time I had an extra set for my pencils, which was the Artist, so I bought an extra set. And then underneath the Coloursoft, we'll come to these containers in a bit, but underneath these I've got the Lyra Polycolors. Now these are very, very, very nice pencils. The Lyra Polycolor pencils are beautiful pencils to work with. I was using this also before I got my Polychromos. I used to use this a lot. In fact, I want to try using them a bit more because I haven't used them for a long time, because now I just go to my Faber-Castell Polychromos, my Derwent Lightfast, or the Caran d'Ache. So I'm going to go back to these pencils at some point and use them as well. So yeah, that's that. And then I had an extra of that when I was using this. I bought an extra set of that, which is still sealed. And underneath there is just the smaller set of the Studio, which I tried out before I bought the larger set that's here. So that's basically my pencils. And then over here is just some storage containers. These containers are basically the containers I use for my I got them in this little tray, so it's easy to keep them when you're working on a diamond dot painting. Yeah, I've got my these are the little bottles that I use. I really like using these. And there's some more at the back, some different shapes and sizes, as well as my embroidery hoop. I don't do embroidery anymore. I used to do it when I was in school, but I just got a hoop in case I want to maybe do some embroidery at some point. And then yeah, this is my plastic 60 centimeter ruler. Now on top of those sets of pencils, I actually had my felt kept, and I had my diamond dot painting that I completed kept on it until I frame it. So let me show you that quickly. Okay, so here is the diamond dot painting that I completed. Just to show you, it was quite a large one, but this was the one that I completed. I work on it from time to time a little bit until I had it complete. But yeah, it's a very beautiful painting or drawing. The image is very beautiful. So I completed this one. So I got this kept there, as well as this felt. Now this is felt that I bought. I'm just keeping the felt here just to show you. I just wanted it to be clear in the cupboard to show you, but this is the felt that I used to put between my paintings where I store them. You'll see the storage of that at my storage unit that's over there. I will be going to that later in the video or towards the end of the video. Then you'll see how I use the felt. So now, okay, so moving to the next shelf, you can see I've got my airbrushes, airbrush tools, my airbrush cleaning supplies, my soft pastel sets. I have used a lot of soft pastels many years ago. I used a lot of them before I started using color pencils, so those are there. I've got an additional set of my watercolor pen set that I use a lot. And then this was a Montmartre wooden box set. It was at a really good price when I bought it, so I wanted to just buy it. It looks so pretty and nice. And I do have a video on my channel where I drew a flamingo using these pencils, and there you'll get to see the box actually out of this case that it is. And then here I just got some old color pencils that I used to use when I was in school or just after school. And then here I've got some oil pastels, which I used to use a lot of in school. I used to do a lot of drawings with oil pastels, so I've got my oil pastels still. Underneath I've got my Faber-Castell pastel pencils, and then I've got my soft pastels over here. And underneath there, let's see if I can lift this up. Yeah, I got my Derwent pastel pencils. Like the soft pastels, I used to use a lot of pastel pencils and soft pastels when I started to really take my art seriously. So that's where those are. And then over here, okay, at the back is just some packaging of some software, and those are old boxes. And then that is my Volcano speakers that my sister got for me, so those are there. And then here I've got an additional set of the ChromaFlow pencils, and I'm waiting for the 72 set to come out. As soon as it comes out, I'm going to get that. And then I've got my additional line makers. I've got additional microns as well. I've got some Posca pen there. I've got some paint pens, white, and I got my jelly rolls and stuff like that. So these are just all in my brush pen and the refills. I got them all here. So that's what all this is over here. And underneath here, I've got, okay, let's just take this off and I can show you. Underneath there, I've got my small set that I tried out of the Inktense blocks. Now I got the larger set. My graphic pencils, additional set that I got. This was a very small set of 24 of the Color Soft that I bought many years ago. And then this is just an extra set of my Derwent drawing pencils, which I also use a lot nowadays. So yeah, those are my supplies that are on that shelf. Now the next shelf doesn't have art supplies. These are my puzzles. I love doing puzzles, especially towards the ending of the year. I like doing a lot of puzzles. So you can see these are all the different puzzles. Some of them I have done, some of them not. I'm still gonna do some of them, but yeah, those are all my puzzles. Yeah, so those are all my puzzles. At the back is some, I think those are engraving art, if I'm not too sure, but there's something in the back. Those must be some kit that I bought many years ago to try. And then over here at the bottom, there's some more. You can see there's some more puzzles over there. And then there is just my extra paints are in that box and acrylic paints. And then here at the bottom is just some exam pads and some notebooks that I've got to use in case I need it. So basically that is the second cupboard. Like I said, only extra supplies, nothing too exciting. So yeah. Okay, so moving on to the next cupboard. You can see in the top shelf, I've got my engraving art that I used to do many years ago. The large one is the one by the pen, by my puzzles. I've got some molds. I've got some polystyrene balls. I've got some polystyrene platforms, round and square. And these are all additional palettes that I've got for my oil paints and my acrylic paints. So those are that. Those are plastic palettes, all of these. Then on the next shelf, if you come down, you will see there are my glues. These are all different glues that I use. Wood glue, this one is, I'm dropping it down, this is PVA glue. And over there you can see those are some larger paint brushes that I've got. I just got them kept there so they're out of the way. There's some additional glue over here. Now these containers, I'm not going to show you all the containers inside because they're just basic stuff and extra things. I just want to tell you what is in there so you can see how I just organize my things. This just has some stationery in it, like pens, some of the tapes that I use for my color pencil drawings to tape them onto the drawing table. And then I've got some rulers. There's some pipettes at the top. So it just has extra stuff that I may need. In the second one, it has got a lot of stationery items like there's some extra Pritt, there's staples, there's elastic bands in here, sellotape. You can see some of the sellotape inside there. And then I've got some extra empty half pens for watercolors in there. But basically stationery items like your paper clips and things like that. So there's only stationery items in there. Press stick as well I've got in there. Next cupboard, you can see I've got some wooden boxes on the top. Now this wooden box is it has got a plastic on the top, so it's got a plastic on the top, and I would like to paint these and decorate them and place them somewhere, or you find a use for them, but I would like to paint those. That's why I bought those these boxes. So these are all like that over there and different sizes. And then I've got this little chest. You've seen one like this on my desk. I just found it cute, so I got an additional one. And then these are my highlighters and my colored pens. I used these a lot when I was studying around 2013 to 2016. I was doing my BCom accounting degree and I used these a lot. Some of those may be dry, I'm not actually sure. But yeah, those are that. And then here I've got a container which I use for my clay. That's to store my clay. There's some spray bottles there. And then these plastic cups which I bought to hold pencils or brushes, which I got really cheap. So yeah, that's that. Then over here I've got this container. It's the same like the other one on the other side, but this one has got paintbrushes or paintbrush sets that come packaged. So I've got those paintbrushes there. And then in this one I've got all like my additional charcoal pencils, not even charcoal, I've got my chalk pencils, my blending pencils, additional ones. I've got additional graphite pencils, my pencil extenders. erasers, sharpeners, basically all things that I may need for my, let's see, there's some sharpeners here, there's erasers, there's a lot of extra pencils that I have, so those are all there. So basically all my drawing stuff for my drawing things are there. And then over here you can see I've got a little pencil case. This pencil case has got my graphite pencils, additional graphite pencils in here. And then over here I've got some additional open stock colored pencils from Derwent, Faber-Castell. There's just a few extra pencils that I use a lot of. Those colors, I've got those in there for my color pencils. So yeah, so that's that shelf, or those shelves. Now next shelf is this one over here. Now this one just has got my fixative that I use for my charcoal drawings and my pastel drawings. And then I've got some textured gesso that I bought to try out. And then there's some more gesso at the back. My master, this one is my cleaner for my oil painting brushes. My acrylic brushes, I wash them with just water and I clean them after every painting session. My oil brushes or oil painting brushes, I use this after every session to clean them and wash them. So yeah, that's a very good cleaner. And I got my gesso at the back. And then this is a medium that I tried, but yeah, it's just very liquidy. It's too liquidy. So yeah, that was another one I bought, but I'm just keeping it for one day. I may need to use it for something, and then I got it. Then throwing it away. I don't want to waste it. So okay, then this one here is my longer. This little tray got my longer paint brushes and my foam brushes, and some long fan brushes. So those, I can't speak today. I don't know what's wrong with me, but okay, yeah, that's all my brushes. And then in this one here I've got a lot of palette knives. So the palette knives are different. Let me just put it on here for you to see. I've got some sponges there, and I've got all the metal palette knives, and then I've got these little plastic ones that I bought. So those are my palettes, or palette knives rather. And then here in this container, this one I can open and show you kind of. I've got my additional mineral spirits at the back, those two with the white caps. And then I've got my additional liquid over there. And oh no, not liquid, those are varnishes. My varnishes are there. And then in here are all my Daler Rowney FW inks. These are my acrylic inks, and these are used for my airbrush. So yeah, I would like to try them with some drawings, but I haven't really got down to it. If you see them like they're mixing up like that or splitting up like that, you just shake it up, it'll mix together and it'll show its original color. I've got some masking fluid over there, and then there's my Copic white, and then I got just some glass containers in case I need to store any additional inks or stuff like that. So yeah, that's basically what's in here. It's only my FW acrylic inks. So that's what's in there for my airbrush. And then in this one over here, there's just some stationery items. There's some paper punches, my very old hard drive that still needs to be connected to power to use. That's like really old. And then I've got all my calculators that I used when I was studying. I've got additional calculators there at the back. There's a dusting cloth additional one or spare one. There's some paper punches. There's a lot of staplers there. And then over here there's just some extra paper clips or paper clamps. And then there's just this is a heavy duty stapler in this little bag. And then there's just some heavy duty foil, another calculators again. And yeah, the heavy foil I use for my sculptures that I do with my clay. In this one over here, you'll see I've got my in the one on top, I've got all my extra brushes that are really big, and my fine detail brushes that are in sets that I couldn't find place for. I just placed them in that container over there. In here I've got all my wire, my sculpting tools, so everything for my clay is in here. All the sculpting tools and everything is in there. Then I've got additional watercolor and gouache, which I use a lot, these two. So I've got additional packs of that. And then I've got my diamond dot paintings. The one is the one packaging of the one I completed, and then I've got the other ones that I want to try out at some point. Now right at the bottom, I'm not going to get too into detail with that. It's just some extension plugs in there, and there's my old coloring books when I was very little, my coloring books, and some files, and some of those are my college stuff as well. So yeah, that's it. So those bags in front of my clay, and then that's my bottle of turpentine that I've got there. So now coming to the last section, which is the last 4 shelves. On the top shelf you can see I've got all my there's some Dama varnish, and these are all some varnishes. Like I've got the two in that container because this box was full. This is just a shoe box that I had, which I'm using to store these in. I've got my varnish. I've got some linseed oil, which I used to use on my oil paintings, but I haven't used that in years. Then I've got my additional liquid and liquid fine detail. There's a big bottle of liquid at the back. If you can see, it's a bit dark in here, but yeah, so those are all my basically my mediums and things like that. On the side I've got some more varnish and my turpentine and things like that. And then I've got at the back there's some bigger brushes and full bit brushes at the back. I got my brushes sorted out according to the brush. So this has got my round brushes and a few mop brushes, but more of the white or lighter color bristles. There's two rake brushes over there. If you can see, this one's over here. It's got a rake brush, but I don't use them much, but I do have that. Then there's some round brushes. Behind that there's a little container with some full bits. At the back there's some more, you can't really see them because they're dark, but there's some flat brushes as well as mop brushes. And then this one over here just has got some random bigger brushes and that I don't really use much anymore, but it's just got some larger brushes in the front. So those are my brushes. And then if you come down to this shelf, now this shelf has just got extra supplies. So you'll see there's some smaller palettes which I use for my watercolor, gouache and ink. Those are my additional palettes. And because palettes get stained over time and eventually you have to change them, so I've got additional ones like that. And then I've got this little plastic bowl and this little containers which I may need for storing extra maybe liquid, or maybe storing extra mineral spirits when I'm working with color pencils. So that's what I got that for. In this container I just got additional the brush cleaner that I use. I just got additional ones in there, and some accessories or packaging of certain things that I want to keep the packaging off to remember which product it was. And then obviously there is just some bottles of different things like my Mod Podge. I got Mod Podge matte. I've got extra gesso, extra modeling paste in here. There's a lot of extra clear gesso because it's very hard to find clear gesso, so I've just got a couple of bottles of that because I do use that a lot for my art journaling, and I do use gesso for gessoing my canvas or my paper when I want to do painting. So yeah, those are just extra of those. And there's some gel medium also in there which I use for my art journaling, some extra bottles of that. So then coming down to the next shelf, now this shelf has got my you'll see there's some additional gouache paints, mostly white. I think all of these are white paints that I use a lot. I just want to show you my paints here. Okay, and then here I've just got some old paints. These are some paints I got in some set many years ago, which I don't really use, but I just want to show you my oil paints. This is how I got my oil paints stored. Okay, this is just some extra foil and stuff and gloves and things like that, but those are all my oil paints. I got them sorted according to colors, but yeah, they're quite messy, but I don't use a lot of oil anymore. I do painting sometimes with oil, but not like I used to. But yeah, those are my oil paints, and then those are my gouache, and then those are the other brands of oil paints and also watercolors that I bought to try out. And then this is one of my favorite watercolor paints that I bought, Faber-Castell. This is a smaller set, but I prefer the 24 set. But the 12 is fine. You can still use it to create all your colors that you need. So basically that's it. Those are the old paints that I started off with the Reeves when I started oil painting. That is like in maybe 2006 or 2007, I'm not sure, but it's like a long time ago when I really started doing my art more serious, taking it more seriously. Those are the paints I used, or this was the oil paint I used at that time. This was the Reeves oil paints, and then I've got some additional oil sets as well, and some watercolor paints as well. So those are just the additional ones, and those are the tube paints. And then at the bottom, I'm not going to go into detail, but in this shelf, it's just there's some extension, or not extension, but extension plugs and additional extension plugs. There's some more clay in those black bags, and then there's more turpentine, and then more plugs and things on the side there. So nothing really exciting, but basically that is what are in those shelves. Now, so those are my three cupboards that I have in my studio with all my art supplies, and that's how I store everything. For me at the moment it works well. Everything is stored where I can reach it, and everything is stored nicely where nothing can get damaged. I'm able to easily access anything or find anything. So yeah, those are all my supplies and how I store them. It may change over time because I keep reorganizing depending on what I take out or what additional products I use or things getting finished or getting additional mediums or things like that. So it always gets reorganized, but for now that's what it looks like. And maybe it gave you a couple of ideas of what you can do. Maybe it'll work for you, some of the way I store my things. So maybe that can be helpful to you. So now I'm going to move on to the other side of my studio and give you a tour of that. So let's go. Coming this side, you can see I've got my keyboard. I'm still learning to play, but I've had this for many years. So whenever I do feel like trying to learn a song or try to learn something on the keyboard itself, then I just sit down here and I practice with it. So you can see there's my keyboard. And then now we're coming to the entertainment area. Now let me just go back so you can have a look at it. So that's what it looks like from here. That's my canvas storage area. We'll come to that now. But yeah, so from my work area, we come to this area. Those are all my DVDs and all my, basically my collection of DVDs over the, I don't know how many years, but I've been collecting since I've started working. And those are all my DVDs that I've collected. I've also got some containers at the bottom that got some PC games that I used to play, but are not compatible and I don't play them anymore. My lamp, that's just storage for packaging and stuff that I receive from deliveries and things. I just keep the packaging to reuse it. And then you can see I've got some very, very long windows on this side of the room. That side of the room had shorter windows, as you can see. But when you come on this side, they've got these long windows. I've got these long windows. You can see I've got some fancy cornices. And you can see, yeah, there's just some really long windows there. So coming in here, you can see there's my DVD collection, like I said. And then there's a little table for me to keep my stuff on when I'm watching TV, or something to put my foot on. And then there's a little book there with a pen which I can use to make any notes if I think of any ideas while I'm watching TV or anything like that. Then there I've got my blanket on the couch, and I've got my cushion. Yeah, I've got my cushion that I sit on. Yeah, that's my couch. And yeah, this was a very nice couch that I got. I'm happy with that. And then looking at here, there's another fan. Oh yeah, there is another fan over there. When you come down the stairs, there's a fan. Now that's a big fan and it makes a lot of noise, so you can't use it when I'm filming or recording voiceovers, but you can use it occasionally if you need it. But that's the big fan when I'm working on my paintings and I'm just filming. I'm going to do a voiceover afterwards, then I use that fan. Then over here you can see my another fan. Now this fan, I use it for the side when I'm watching TV because it's very soft and you don't have a problem hearing anything because of it. It's very soft. And then I've just got a light there, a rechargeable light, and then I've got my cables. Then here is my TV stand. You can see I've got my TV stand, got my Blu-ray players, DVD players. You can see my TV. I've got a little plant over there, some flowers inside. And then there's just a chair for me to sit if I want to sit and just, relax, look outside, have some tea or something like that. And there is another plant, and there's some of my paintings. Two landscape paintings are actually oil painting, and the middle one with the tiger is a acrylic painting. And then this is my storage unit for my canvases. So this was my sister and my dad helped me make this one. And this one, I've got a video on my channel where I show you in detail. But basically, just to give you an overview, these are where I store all my canvases, my wooden canvases as well, just to paint on. So this side I use for that. And this one I use for my finished paintings. So it's got all my completed paintings. It's got my... you can see I use the felt between them just to block the paintings so they don't get damaged by pressing on one another. So that's that. I do have some small panels that I kept here, but you can see I've got my paintings all kept. You can see I've got my paintings all kept inside here. So that's my oil paintings. I'm sorry, those are my paintings. There's some oil paintings, acrylic paintings that I've completed. And then those are at the bottom. There's some bigger ones there. And then these are also paintings that I've completed, and this was the largest painting that I've done, which is the one with the elephant that I mentioned. So yeah, you can have a look at it close up. So yeah, that's my elephant painting. That's the largest one that I've done. So yeah, this is storage for my paintings, my oil paintings and acrylic paintings, and it works really well for my storage, and takes everything off the floor. Before, I used to have them all slotted everywhere between the cabinets and cupboards and everything, and it just looks so untidy. So now it's nice having a place to store them. This box actually needs to go. I need to find a place to pack all these contain all these little boxes, because these I'm going to be decorating and painting and doing any sort of maybe decoupage or even texture paste, modeling paste. I'm using a variety of things, chipboard and things like that. So I've got a lot of plans for using for these, to decorate these. So I'm really excited to try those out. But basically that's it. That's my studio. If you see, that's my entertainment area. You can see one more look at the whole room. And there is my chandelier again. You can see the lights of the room. And then I've got my work area, and then my cupboards on the side here. Those are just my internet stuff is there. And then yeah, you can see the entire room from here. So I think from the side we'll get a good view from the bookcase. You can see my computer area, office area, my painting area, drawing area, my easels, my storage for my art supplies, and then my storage for my canvases, and then my couch and my entertainment area. Okay, so that's basically my studio. I hope you found it helpful, and it was interesting to see how I work, the area I work, how I place my things, and how my setup is, as well as how I store my art supplies. Maybe you can get some ideas to help you store your own art supplies, or use in your own, maybe some ideas you'll get to do in your own art space or workspace. So I hope you found this video helpful. So I guess that's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, don't forget to like and share. Feel free to comment below, and don't forget to subscribe. Till the next one. Bye.